II, Preeminence, I'm Cardinal Singh, Governor of Metropolitan Manila.
Brought to you by Vivon III.
Your Eminences, Monsignors, Reverend Fathers, Your Excellencies of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished guests, my friends. Allow me to extend welcome to His Holiness. On his arrival in Asia, on behalf of the Filipino people, and I believe I expressed also the sentiments of all the peoples of Asia. As today he continues on his pilgrimage around the world, bringing the message of spiritual renewal, light, and hope. If I do not impose too much on Your Holiness, on this great historic occasion, I am reminded of one of your writings. As today we look around in a confused world that seeks and is thirsty for the strength and the poetry of faith, you did write, the world is charged with secret energies. Boldly I call them by name. No flat words, though ready to fall out, they do not hurtle like mountain water on stone, or flush like trees against the light. I am a giver. I touch the secret forces that expand the mind, and sometimes the memory of a starless night is all that remains. This poem reminds us of the fact that today, in a wasteland where permissiveness and loose morals threaten the safety of our world, both physical and spiritual, there is one symbol of that spiritualism that seeks to reinstate the vigor of the foundation of the human race, and that one is the Holy Father. We know of no single person around whom revolves the hope of mankind. You come to us, O Holy Father, on a great historic occasion. You do us honor because you come on the beatification of one of our kings, Lorenzo Ruiz, in ceremonies that for the first time in the history of the Church will be held outside the Vatican. And this is a signal honor to the Filipino people. Our hearts are indeed full, but we meet you not with pride, but with humility and unbended knees. For we realize that on your great pilgrimage around the world, you have brought this message of spiritual renewal and light and hope, not only to the weak and the oppressed, not only to the poor, but also to those who are confused, those who are reluctant, and those who are petulant. And you come to the Philippines to confront man as you have confronted him in South America and in Africa, that man who has a second name, and that second name is poverty. But poverty is no reason for shame or indignity. Otherwise, the poor would not be God's first children. There is humiliation and there is indignity only if the rich, the affluent, the powerful, the prestigious should mock the impoverished with exploitation for any purpose, political or economic. True it is that the overconsumption of the affluent has deprived the many of the world's goods, as you yourself have said, not only in your pilgrimage, but before the United Nations. And true it is that if our humanity would seek to be one with itself, then all the peoples of the nations and of our society must recognize this reality. You come to Asia, where our scholars and our thinkers also tell us that the depletion of nature's bounties, the arms race, the widening gulf between the rich and the poor, all these are rising out of an ethic of production and consumption which disregards totally the limits of humanity. And so, as you come to the Philippines, and we see for ourselves the weakness of this society, not only of our country, but of the world, it is our prayer that you shall succeed on your mission and on your pilgrimage. For we see a world where there is sudden fascination with strange secular theories, including those that would espouse the use of violence for the attainment of supposedly noble objectives, something which you have remarked upon on many an occasion, especially in Ireland. We who watch from outside look to our church as the source of spirituality, and yet in our society we see the erosion of the moral base of our country and of our people. Here lies the failure of government, but perhaps too the failure of our church. Failure of everyone. And therefore, you come to us. We see in you the hope that you will return this state and our church back to Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ who preached love, not hatred, affection, not hunger, purity, not prurient worldliness, humility, not arrogance, and above everything else is spirituality and not temporal power. We therefore pray, Your Holiness, that you succeed on these pilgrimages, and on behalf of all the peoples of Asia, we welcome you to this part of the world with a full heart. Thank you.
Brought to you by V1 the Third.